Thank you for tuning in to Terry Swoop Videos. On today's video, I'm going to do a Where Are They Now on the actress who plays Sarah Jane in Imitation of Life. The actress's name was Susan Kohner, and she plays the role of a young, light-skinned black girl who's ashamed of being black and ashamed of having a black mother in the 1950s.
You found out I'm not white. Because you keep telling the world I'm your daughter. Anything you can spoil, you spoil.
Now, the actress who plays Sarah Jane is actually a white woman who plays the role of a light-skinned, mulatto black girl. But if you watch the 1934 version, there's two different versions of this movie. The 1959 version and the 1934 version. In the 1934 version, the character who plays Sarah Jane is actually a light-skinned black woman named Freddie Washington. And this actress is so light-skinned that she almost passes as a white woman. And this is why they chose her for the role. But in real life, Freddie Washington was a biracial woman who was proud of her race. She never tried to pass herself off as being white. And she was a civil rights activist. But when you watch the movie, she plays the role of a self-hating young black girl who's ashamed of her black mother.
What's my baby want? I want to be white like I look.
Now, there's different similarities. There's different storylines between the 1934 version and the 1959 version. The story comes from a 1933 book novel from the writer Fannie Hurst. And the story in the book is somewhat different than the story in the two movies that were made. But in my personal opinion, I think the 1959 version is a better version. I think the acting in the movie is better. I thought Lana Turner and Joanna Moore played the role of the two mothers much better than the two roles that were played in 1934. So in my personal opinion, the 1959 version is a much better movie. Even though I do appreciate them hiring a black actress to play Sarah Jane in the 1934 version. Now, for those of you who haven't seen either movie, the main premise of the movie revolves around two single mothers raising two daughters while living together. One black, one white. And this was very groundbreaking at the time, because you're not going to see too many movies with a black mother and a white mother living together, raising two families together. So this movie was very groundbreaking on that premise. And I thought Susan Kohner did a great job of playing Sarah Jane. I thought this woman was beautiful. She showed a lot of emotion in the movie. I thought she should have got an Oscar nomination in this movie. This movie was hugely successful in 1959. It was one of the highest grossing movies at the time. And I thought Joanna Moore, who played Mother Annie, did an amazing acting performance. I also thought she should have got an Oscar nomination. She was an actress during the 1950s and 60s. She passed away in 2014 at 99 years old.
How do you explain to your child she was born to be hurt?
Surprisingly, Susan Kohner is the only cast member who's still alive. Sandra Dee passed away in 2005. Lana Turner passed away in 1995. So the only cast member who's currently still alive is Susan Kohner. Now, with Susan Kohner, she retired from acting at a young age. And sometime during the mid-1960s, she retired from acting. She got married, she had kids, and she decided to walk away from Hollywood right at the peak of her career. Now, this woman was beautiful. She was gorgeous. She could have went on to be just as famous as a Marilyn Monroe or Grace Kelly, but she decided to walk away from the business in Hollywood. She got married, she kept a low profile, and she stayed out of the spotlight. Today, she's 83 years old. And as you can see, she looks healthy for an 83-year-old woman. And I'm glad to see that she's still alive and well. Imitation of Life is one of my favorite movies of all time. I've seen this movie 100 times. It's one of those movies you can never get tired of. Similar to A Wonderful Life. I've seen A Wonderful Life 100 times. I've always been a huge fan of classic movies because the classic movies didn't have any special effects. It was all about the acting. It was all about the acting performances. And this is what made Imitation of Life such a great movie. A lot of people have different opinions about this topic. Leave a comment, rate, and subscribe.